I'm Spirit of the Rock, Stan Pearsa. I made your arrow kits, and this video is to show you how to put your arrows together. And give me a second and I'll grab some things. In your kit you should have one arrow shaft. If you notice, the arrow shaft will be notched a little deeper on one end than on the other. The short notch is what would go on your string if you were putting it on a bow to shoot it. The deeper notch is for your point to set in. Also in your kit should be one point, the Cahokia type, after the mound builder cultures out St. Louis way. And you will also have two feathers and a piece of artificial sinew. What we're going to do first is you're going to take your sinew and you're going to start at one end and just pull it apart, and you'll see it starts to fray. And if you judge it right, you can separate it into individual pieces. You might have to come down a little bit and pull it apart. But it should come apart in clean, separate strands. There we go. Just like that. And it may actually separate into more than two, but that's okay also. You can pull, you can separate all the way where you have two strands. It, like I say, it may actually separate into more, but that's okay. To assemble this kit, you'll need a pair of scissors. If you prefer, some glue, and then just to follow my instructions. What we have here, this feather is untrimmed, meaning it has no ends to it. The feathers go all the way to each end. So first thing I'm going to do is trim it, but I'm going to adjust my camera angle just a bit, and then we'll continue. Go. What I'm going to do, if you have feathers, some of your feathers will be trimmed, some won't. But you just come right next to the quick, which is the solid stem part of the feather, and trim in about, it's kind of hard to show this on the camera, a 1/4 inch or so. Just pull that away so that you have this little tag sticking out. You go to the other end, do the same thing. Now you have an end sticking out there and one there. Then you'll come to the outside of the feather where you have this jagged natural edge of the natural feather, and just trim that straight. As straight as you can. Yeah, doesn't have to be perfect just yet. We're going to trim it some more later. Alright. Now that we have the feather trimmed, what we're going to do first is mount our point. And I'm going to set some of this stuff to the side so I can have a free hand to work with. I'm going to take my glue and my shaft. I'm just going to put a little dab of glue in that notch. Doesn't matter if it's comes out the sides, just going to do that a little bit. Then I'm going to take my point and set it in the notch, trying to center it. And like I say, if the glue squishes out, that's fine. When you're centering your point, you want it centered this way, but you also want to turn it to the side and make sure it's straight. If it's not, you can tip it one way or the other, or actually pick it up, turn it around, and set it back in the slot. Now that we have our point in there with some glue, we'll take one of our strands of sinew that we separated, and I'm going to see if I can get this right up to the camera. Lay it straight, parallel along the shaft, and wrap downwards along that string you laid along the shaft. Doesn't matter if the wraps are close together. This is just to lock that string in. Then you're going to go back up towards the point. Same thing again, doesn't matter if they're tight or close together. Alright, now that we're here at the bottom of the point, we're going to start a crisscross wrap. You're going to go through one of the notches, come across the middle, back down around to the shaft. From the shaft, you're going to come up across this middle into the side notch, straight across, and back down this way. And you'll continue that repetitively, 2 or 3 good wraps, keeping it pulled tight as you go. And I'm going to try and keep this in focus. Alright, now that after you've got 7 or 8 good wraps like that, we'll take and come back down here to the shaft, and this time when we wrap, we'll keep that string tight and close together. And you see it's covering most of that glue that's squished out. Alright, when you got about, I don't know, this much string left, we're going to stop right there. And I'll show you what to do next. Let me grab one of these other pieces of sinew. Another piece. You want to take your scissors and cut a piece, I don't know, about 6 or 8 inches long. You're going to take and fold it in half. You put your finger in there, spin your finger around. Oop, mine slipped out. Get my hands back together. Twist your finger. All you're doing is winding this sinew together. Alright, now it's together, and we have a loop on the end. Go back to our shaft where we were wrapping, and we're going to take and lay this string right alongside the shaft. Trying to grab it. Hold on a second. Alright. Then we're going to wrap our string over that loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's back up for a second. Went the wrong way with my loop. Turn your loop towards the feather end of the shaft. And then start your route. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, now I can get my loop to open up. Take the loose end of your string, your sinew, and put it through the loop and hold it while you grab the other end, which is your loop bottom, and pull it through. Just like that. And it'll leave a little tag hanging out like this. This locks all your bindings together and also hides the string. Then you just take your scissors and trim that little end off. Alright, that's your hafted point. You still have some on hand, you can take a paper towel or something, just wipe a little bit of excess off of your point where it's showing. Just to clean things up a little bit. There we go. One hafted point. It's pretty good and tight, seated well. Alright, that's your point put on. The other thing you can do with your little tad of string we trimmed off, you can take your glue again if you want. It's a matter of preference. Put just a little dab right on that string tag. Not much, just a little bit. And just take your finger and wipe it and press it in. You can actually do this over the entire string wrap if you want, just to make sure it seals good, stays put, but it's usually not necessary. Alright, now we'll move on to the feathers. The feather end, you're going to want to come in about this far, say an inch and a half. The reason being, I know y'all are doing these on display stands, but still, you want your arrow done. You don't want, when you got your wrap here, you don't want it interfering with your knot if you were shooting these. But with display, we'll still do it just like if it was going to be one that was shot. So anyway, we'll start with our wrapping. Alright, I got my piece of sinew. I'm going to put my feather here for a second. I better set that down. Alright, same thing again, just like we did on the other end with the arrowhead. My feather's flying away. We're going to come down to, we'll put our feather up here for a fit and get an idea. Right here is where we want to wrap to start. So we'll take and lay our string right on the stick and we'll start wrapping so the sinew wrap ties itself on there. And once you got it where it's locked in, you can actually just spin the shaft and wrap it down to cover all of that string tag hanging out. Alright, that's good enough. Now we'll take our feather and we're going to set it right there and bring our string over it. A couple, 2-3 wraps. Alright, once we got that, then we'll spin it again, wrap it down where it's covering all of that little tag of quill sticking out. Alright, now comes the tricky part. Our second feather. Here's our second feather. Put that one on the opposite side. Same thing again. Wrap it over. Good 2-3 wraps. Covering up most of that quill. We're going to do some extra wrap there in a little bit. Alright, now here comes the interesting part. You can use your scissors for this also. Or if you have a pocket knife, that works too. Or a toothpick or any pointed edge. Alright, this is kind of hard to show, but if you notice, the veins of the feather run at an upward angle. All these little veins are running uphill. So we're going to do our string wrap in a spiral through the feathers uphill. The first one, we're going to take the point of the knife, or in this case scissors, and we're going to put it right up against that quill and make a split. Just like that. That's going to be our first wrap of the string. You take it right in the split you made. Then you come back to the other side. And trying to do this in a reverse so you can see what I'm doing. And you guesstimate the angle and split it again, this feather, second feather, like that, and put your string through there. Alright, then we'll come back to this side, Same thing again, guesstimate your spot, split your quill, wrap your string. And it's just a continuous, you're kind of winding it through the feather and around the shaft. Guesstimate your angle, split the quill, wrap your string. At the same time you're doing this, you can look at your feathers and adjust them on the shaft, and you'll be able to move them later too. So now we'll come up here and split our quill, do a wrap, split our quill, pull our string through there. You just keep going up the feather. If it looks like your angle is wrong, you can undo your string and go a little higher. And you'll know if it's wrong because you'll crush your feathers and it won't look right. And you just keep doing this until you get all the way to the top. Now we're at the top here, and we'll start wrapping that quick on that side. And we'll actually trim this one in, this side. See how it's taller than this quick here? So we'll actually snip some of this one off and adjust our stem. Here we go. Now they're about the same. And you'll just start wrapping that up. And once you got it wrapped enough, then you can actually just hold your string and spin your feather to wrap it real good. And you're just going to keep wrapping and spinning towards the knock of the arrow, or the end. See how I hold it here and here, and keep my string tight here, and just spin the shaft. That gives you a good tight wrap. If you're going to be shooting these, this will reinforce the wood so that it stays good and tight. And you wrap it right on towards the end. When you have about let's say about this much string left, we'll do our loop thing again. Yeah, what I do my loop. Put the loop in somewhere. That's alright, I'll put another one real quick. Take me another loop real fast. Alright, this time the loop is going to lay along the feather shaft, in between the feathers, and you're going to wrap your string that you've been wrapping towards the end over the loop string back towards the feathers. As many wraps as you can till you have about 3-4 inches of string left. Then you'll stick that string in just like before through the loop. Then you'll grab your loop end and pull that string through, just like that. And then once again, take your scissors and snip off the string. There we go. And like we did with the arrow, if you want to use a dab of glue to stick that string tag down, that's fine. You just take it, put your little dot of glue up there, and just take your finger and press it into the other sinew. Alright, now you notice our feathers are not quite uniform, so we're going to trim them, and you can do any shape you want on these feathers. You can make the tops round, you can do a close-in hard V. It's a matter of preference, your choice. Whatever you want to make it, it's your arrow, however you want to make it look. And also, one other thing I didn't point out, and I gotta grab another thing for this. Let's see here. I don't see what I'm looking for. Not sure where I put my other thing at. I'll see if I can do it with the scissors. Might be a little difficult, but we might do it. If you notice, some of these veins have gaps in them. It's because of string wrap. When I did my string wrap, I didn't get it quite right. So you can take something and stick under the string. These scissors ain't gonna do it, they're too blunt. A toothpick would work good, or like a sewing needle. But anyway, what you would do is stick the item under the string and over the quill just above it, and pull that quill down and through the string to get it back looped in. But anyway, we'll go ahead with trimming our feathers. Now I'm just going to take mine here and trim this in like that. And then I'm going to come in here and trim this edge straight up. Trim the bottom end a little bit too. There we go. Now I'll do the same thing on the other side. And sorry, I'm off the camera doing that. It's just trimming with your scissors. Get whatever shape you want. And there's mine. If I was actually going to use this for shooting or hunting or something, I would take more time and do a more perfected job of it. But if your feathers are not even, all you have to do is just shift them on the shaft. They will move, and they'll move underneath that string wrap, just like you see me doing there. Just all you gotta do is push on the quick, and it'll slide around the shaft, and till you get them about even. So there you go. Your feathers, arrow point, all completed. And hope you enjoy the kits. Hope they make a neat craft project for you to do. And if there's anything else I can help you out with in the future, just let me know. Have a nice night.